All right, real quick, remember, the final exam looks like this. It's this semester. The EOCT was the end of course test, and that covered everything. And that was the one we took. It was 2 hours long, on the computer, all that stuff. Our final exam, this is third period. So on Monday, they'll do first and second. Y'all go home. Next day, third and fourth is in here on Tuesday. Go home. Wednesday is in fifth or sixth and seventh. And then that will be the last day of school. Okay, for those of you that haven't, excuse me, at least it's consistent. I got to give you that. For those of you that haven't turned in your book, do so. I got a bunch of them today. Go ahead and turn the rest of them in. Just bring it in that day of the final exam. Okay? When y'all, as soon as that period is over or whatever, I have to send in a report of the people that haven't turned in the book. Doesn't matter if you bring it in 4 days after that, you'll have to go through the administration to deal with it, and they'll hold you until you turn the book in. So don't ask me, can I bring this tomorrow, and that kind of thing, because you're not going to be dealing with me. Okay, so you'll have to deal with the office there regardless. Pick up at 21. I'll stop at 30. A coin is tossed and a die is rolled. There's two things that's happened when you when you toss a coin. How many things can happen? Two. So one of your probabilities is going to be something over 2. When you roll a dice, 6. So something's going to happen here 6 times. It says, what is the probability that the coin shows tails? So there's 1 out of 2. So there's 1/2, 50%. 0.5. The odds, remember odds are different than that. So I really don't like it when you guys say 50-50 because that's odds. That's 1-to-1 odds right there. Okay? And that the die shows a 3 or a 4. How many 3s are there? How many 4s are there? So how can you roll a 3 or a 4? 2 out of 6. So, and this says that the coin shows tails, and that and right there, multiply. So 1/2, the 2's cancel out, and I end up with C, 1/6. It's kind of interesting there because that's the same probability of rolling a die when you if I had just picked one number. If I'd have said, what's the probability of rolling a 5? It would be 1/6. So this turns out to be 1/2 times 2/6, which is also 1/6. Also, hold on a second. Also, don't forget, that's a single die. 6 things can happen. Paradise? Very good. Question? Okay, there's no real need to do that because it's multiplication. And so the way you work multiplication problems is top times top, bottom times bottom, cancel if you can. Distance formula? Guys. Excuse me. Distance formula? D equals square root of x1, which -4 minus 2. -4 minus 2. Real concerned about this. Guys, notice that this problem says -4 minus 2 right there. And I can almost guarantee that there's somebody sitting in this room, and look, they do it to us twice, -2 minus 3, that if you aren't careful, you'll take your calculator, and even though you know what a negative times a negative is, anybody? Positive, you'll forget, and you'll go -6 squared, and not put parentheses around it. And so when I go -6 squared, it's supposed to be positive 36. Look, it says -36 right there. The reason that does that is because it does an order operation. So this is, the distance is 36 plus 25, and that's the square root of 61. Are there any perfect squares? No perfect squares that are the factors of 61 right there, so I get B, square root of 61. 23? Midpoint? Anybody? Now, what is the answer? How do you go about doing it, guys? We get caught up about that concept, and that's what has some of you guys back there that are not paying attention right now, is because y'all get caught up with what the answer is. Guys, you need to forget about what the answer is. The answer is a product of knowing what you're doing. Okay? And so, if you know what you're doing right here, you take your x values and you add them together and divide by 2. You take your y values, you add them together and divide by 2. And so when I get my, what is my u, I got to get the coordinates for u. That's negative 3, 0. I got to get my coordinates for t. That's 1, looks like 1, 4. T is 1, 4. Writing a fraction right there, excuse me. So 1, 4, so I add them together. When I add them together, that gives me negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So I know it's negative 1, 2. Now, this is not the problem I'm concerned about. The one I'm concerned about that we might miss is the one where they give us the negative 1, 2 and ask you to find the point that's missing over here. Remember, just go through the same process, but you'll end up with the x1 plus a number over 2. You got to multiply that 2 back to the other side. But regardless, make sure you understand when you take your 3 points and check them. Guys, it is the middle point. 2 sides of a triangle have 7 and 13. I think I did a good job of taking this yesterday and really getting you to understand. Here's a distance. Here's one length. This corner is one length, and a pin is this length. From the top of the pointer to the bottom of the pin, if I wanted to find that distance, what would I do? If I wanted to find the distance from the top of this pointer to the bottom of this pin, what would I do with the 2 lengths? I'd add them together. I didn't do such a good job yesterday. If I wanted to time to the top of the pin, or from the top of the pointer to the top of the pin, how would I find this one? You subtract them. So this thing right here, number 24, says 2 sides of a triangle has lengths of 7 and 13. The third side has a length that is greater than 6, but less than 20. Where in the world did I get greater than 6 from? 13 minus 7 is 6. Well, the way this is laid out is answer A. It actually says it the other way. It says less than 20 and greater than 6. Same thing. Median. Y'all told me earlier what to do with the median. You're going to find the median. The first thing you got to do is get them in order. And then the one in the middle. So the first thing I would have to do is just come over here and list the, and you got to list them out. 17, looks like 26, 28, excuse me. So 17, 24, 26, 27, 28, 37, 30, 38, 39, 40, 37, 38, 39, 40. I would count these numbers. I would count my set here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Come over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. An odd number of data points. So there's really no math. It's just a matter of picking out the number. Anybody? 28. So 28 is called the what? While we're here, let's go ahead and find the median of those two numbers. 50 divided by 2 is 25. What is this called?
The
lower quartile. The inner quartile is just those two that, yeah. So this is called Q1. Over here I have 37, 38, 39, 40. So divided by 2 is 38.5, and that's Q3. And the reason they're called quartiles is because now, look, now I have 4 sets of data. Eyes up here. I have 4 sets of data. I have from the quartile below it, that middle section in there, then the median, above that, and then above the 4th quartile. And that's why those are called quartiles, is because they break. It's 3 little tick marks to break it up into 4s. That makes logical sense on a number line. If you think about it for a second, it takes 3 tick marks to break something up into 4s, because what's the 4th 4? What's 4 fourths? 1. How many tick marks are there if I were to have a measurement thing that measured a foot and I wanted tenths of a foot or something like that? How many tick marks would there be between 0 and maybe 99? Because what would the 100th be? And that's the whole concept, guys. Hello? That's the whole concept behind what unit of measurement. Metrics. That's why metrics are, there's a science base for it. But there's not a science base for customary measurements. We just use those because they're standard and became easy to use. All right, let's try to blast through these a little bit here. 26, VS is 6. VS is 5. VQ is 6. So if that length is 6, what's RV? 6. 6. This is 5. 5. 5. It says then PQ. So PQ is the long way. Is 10. And a triangle segment connecting the midpoints. Midpoints. Anybody? Very good. Mid-segment. It's the mid-segment. Says refer to the diagram below here for several questions. Or no, this question. Yeah, I believe it's several questions here. A median. What does a median do? Middle. So which one of those would be the median? D. D is a point now. That would be the altitude. BE, there's nothing here. I don't believe that. That's in the middle right there. It tells us AF is congruent to FC, so that puts F in the middle. So if F is in the middle, BF is the median. Intersection of the median? Centroid. And our little acronyms or whatever, medians and centroid. Altitude is, like I said before, BD, that's A. And in the figure below, which of the following statements is false? AEB and DEC are supplementary angles. What does supplementary mean? 180. Adjacent is they have a side that's in common. So BEC and CED are adjacent angles. That's true. AEB is 56. Well, if AED is 124, and it says BEC is 124, AEB is 56, this side is 56. I believe the one that's not true, it says, which of the following statements is false? I believe it's A, isn't it? AEB, and DEC. These are supplementary. That's not supplementary now. That's vertical. Vertical means, and they're congruent, so vertical means they're congruent. Supplementary means they're 180. What's the other word? First semester word. Complementary. That could be 90. Questions on 21 through 30. Yep.